A shipping container full of glass ornaments sat rotting at a port in Long Beach for 10 straight days. Nobody came to claim it. Nobody filed the right paperwork. And every single day it sat there, the fines kept stacking up. Thousands of dollars. Just burning. And the guy responsible? He was sitting in a corner office 50 miles away, Googling what a customs broker was. This is the story of a man who thought he was the smartest person in the room, and how one spreadsheet brought him back down to earth. Okay, so let me set the stage. Marcus had been working as a purchasing manager at a mid-sized home goods company for about 5 years. Seasonal decor. Think holiday ornaments, centerpieces, all that stuff that flies off the shelves between October and December. And for all 5 of those years, they'd been using the same importer. A domestic company run by a woman named Linda, who handled everything. Customs, quality checks, shipping logistics, all of it. Yeah, she charged a markup. Of course she did. That's how it works. But in exchange, Marcus never had to think about freight forwarding or tariff codes or any of that nightmare. It just showed up. On time. Every time. Then Derek showed up. New director of operations, the kind of guy who walks into a company that's been running fine for years and immediately starts looking for things to fix. You know the type, right? Always talking about optimization and lean processes and cutting the fat. He had this energy like he'd just come from a TED Talk and couldn't wait to implement everything he'd learned. And look, sometimes fresh eyes are exactly what a company needs. But Derek wasn't bringing fresh eyes. Derek was bringing an ego, a big one. And about 3 weeks into the job, he decided he'd found his first big win. He called a meeting, pulled Marcus in along with a couple people from finance, and he started going off. Full presentation mode, slides and everything. He's pointing at numbers on the screen, talking about how the company is, and I quote, hemorrhaging money by using a middleman. He's waving his hands around like he just uncovered some massive scandal. And his big idea? Cut out Linda. Go direct to the factories in China. Buy the ornaments straight from the source and pocket the difference. He's looking around the room like he just solved world hunger. And Marcus is sitting there thinking, oh boy, because Marcus knows. He knows exactly what's involved in direct overseas sourcing. He's seen it. He's lived it at a previous job. And it is not just making a phone call and placing an order. So Marcus pushed back. Respectfully. Professionally. He explained that dealing with international freight is basically a full-time job on its own. You've got customs brokers, tariff classifications, port scheduling, ISF filings, container tracking, and it's a whole world. And Linda's company? They handle all of that. That's what the markup pays for. It's not just profit for her. It's service. It's expertise. It's 5 years of zero problems. And you know what Derek said? He looked Marcus dead in the eye and said, quote, you're just being lazy, end quote. Lazy. 5 years of flawless supply chain management. And this guy calls him lazy. And then, and this is the part that really got Marcus, Derek leans back in his chair, crosses his arms, and goes, just get me the contacts. I'll close the deal myself. Like he's some kind of closer. Like international manufacturing sourcing is just a matter of picking up the phone and being charming. Marcus sat there for a second, and something clicked. Fine. You want the contacts? I'll get you the contacts. You want to run this yourself? Go right ahead. I'm going to hand you exactly what you asked for, and then I'm going to sit back and watch. So Marcus spent the next 2 days doing exactly what was asked of him. And I mean exactly. He went on Alibaba, he vetted manufacturers, he compiled a beautiful spreadsheet, 20 legitimate Chinese factories that produce glass ornaments, each one with their minimum order quantities, their FOB pricing, their lead times, and the time zone differences for communication. He even color-coded it. He handed that spreadsheet to Derek like it was a gift-wrapped present. Here you go, boss. Everything you need. Have fun. And then Marcus did something beautiful. He went back to his desk, leaned back in his chair, and waited. Now here's where it gets good. Derek jumps right in. He's emailing factories at like 9 p.m., forgetting that it's 10 in the morning in Guangzhou. He's getting responses at 3 a.m. his time and missing them until noon. The back and forth that should take a day is taking a week, but he pushes through. He negotiates a price, or at least he thinks he does. He locks in an order for 5,000 glass ornaments at what he calls, and I'm not making this up, a game-changing faux B price. Faux B, free on board, which means the price covers getting the goods onto the ship in China. That's it. That's where the price ends. But Derek? Derek thought FOB meant delivered to his warehouse. He literally thought that was the total cost. So the order goes through. Derek wires the money directly to the supplier. No escrow, no trade assurance, just a straight wire transfer. Marcus hears about this and has to physically stop himself from saying anything. Because that's already risky, but fine. The goods get manufactured. They get loaded onto a container ship. And Derek's feeling good. He's walking around the office, telling everyone how much money he's about to save the company. He's practically already spending his bonus. But here's the thing. While that container is crossing the Pacific Ocean, there's something Derek was supposed to do. Something kind of important. He was supposed to hire a customs broker and file something called an ISF, an importer security filing. You have to file it at least 24 hours before the ship arrives. Derek didn't even know it existed. The container arrives at the port of Long Beach, and it gets flagged immediately. Customs and Border Protection pulls it aside because there's no ISF filing on record. No customs broker assigned. No documentation, nothing. It's just a container full of glass ornaments sitting on a dock with nobody to claim it. And here's what Derek didn't know about ports. They don't just let your stuff sit there for free. Every day that container sits unclaimed, the port charges what's called demurrage. It's basically a fine for taking up space. And it's not cheap. We're talking hundreds of dollars a day. Sometimes more. And the clock started ticking the second that ship docked. 10 days. That container sat there for 10 days, while Derek scrambled to figure out what was happening. He's making phone calls. He's Googling customs regulations at his desk, like a college student cramming for a final. He finally hires a customs broker, at a rush rate, of course, to sort out the paperwork. And when the broker tallies up the damage, the demurrage fees, the storage fees, the expedited brokerage charges, the late penalties, it came out to more than the 15% markup he was trying to avoid by cutting out Linda in the first place. Let that sink in. He spent more money on his mistakes than he would have spent just letting the professional handle it. And Marcus? Marcus watched the whole thing unfold from his desk like he had front row seats to the greatest show on earth. He didn't say, "I told you so." He didn't gloat. He didn't need to. Because everybody in that office saw what happened. Everybody saw Derek march in with his big ideas and his big ego. And everybody watched him crash and burn in slow motion over the course of 6 weeks. The finance team saw the invoices. The warehouse team saw the delays. Everyone knew. And Marcus just kept doing his job, quietly, professionally, the way he'd always done it. And then came the moment Marcus had been waiting for. Yesterday afternoon. Derek walks over to Marcus's desk. No swagger this time. No leather portfolio. No slides. Just a man who got humbled by a shipping container. He stands there for a second, and Marcus can tell he's choosing his words carefully. And Derek goes, "Hey, do you still have the number for our old importer?" Marcus didn't even blink. He just pulled up his contacts, wrote Linda's number on a sticky note, and handed it over. Didn't say a word, didn't need to. That sticky note said everything. And you know what the best part is? Linda took them back. She'd been their importer for 5 years. She knew the products, she knew the timelines, she knew the warehouse specs. She picked up the phone, heard what happened, and I guarantee you she smiled. Because Linda's been in this business long enough to know that every company has a Derek. Some guy who looks at a 15% markup and sees waste instead of seeing 5 years of expertise and 0 headaches. She probably quoted them 16% this time. And honestly, they deserve it. Look, here's the thing. There's a reason middlemen exist. I know that word has a bad reputation. People hear middleman and they think unnecessary. They think markup. They think waste. But in international trade, that middleman is the person who knows which forms to file, which ports to avoid, which factories actually deliver on time, and which ones ghost you after the wire transfer. That markup isn't a tax, it's insurance. And Derek learned that the most expensive way possible. Sometimes the smartest move isn't cutting people out, it's knowing what you don't know and paying the people who do. If you've ever had a boss who thought they were smarter than the entire system, drop a comment. I know you've got stories. And if this one hit home for you, make sure you subscribe, because I've got a lot more where this came from. Stories about people who played stupid games and won the stupidest prizes imaginable. I'll see you in the next one.